Hey BookTube, here's my review of The Fetch by Laura Whitcomb. The Fetch is a wonderful book that you should read. I happened to pick it up on sale at my local closeout store, and I didn't know anything about it other than the fact that it was written by Laura Whitcomb. She is one of my favorite authors of all time, and I hadn't really heard anything about this book, and that is sad because everybody needs to read this book. It's just so good. And moreover, it is so beautifully written. She is an amazing, amazing writer. The things that she writes about and the way she expresses them are I love it. Okay, so here are 4 things that I loved about this book and reasons that you should read it. First of all, the plot. Let me just give you as brief a synopsis as I can do because I am quite a chatterbox and I tend to go on and on. The Fetch is about Calder. Calder is the main character. He is a fetch. A fetch is a being who was alive at some point and was recruited and now has become an escort to take humans from the moment of their death into the afterlife. They wear a key around their neck. They go through a door and they come to the person who is dying. The person is given a choice whether they want to die or whether they don't. If they do, then they go with the fetch. They go through the door and then they go through like rooms, sort of, which are stages that they deal with their death and their life. And this culminates in coming to a river where a boat pulls up and the captain then takes them on to the afterlife. So interesting premise. And he goes to get the prince Alexei Romanov, who is part of the Romanov family in Russia that was assassinated when the Russian Revolution happened. And he sees Alexei's mother and he falls in love. And he ends up breaking one of the rules of being a fetch, and that is that he doesn't let Alexei die. He makes that decision for Alexei and ends up wanting to get back. I loved the premise of the book, the fact that I'd never heard of anything like that, an escort to it was just really interesting to me. And not just because of what it was. I'm sure somebody has done that idea before, but it was the way that the rules were set up and the kind of people that become fetches. And in Calder especially, which leads me to my next wonderful point. Another reason why I loved it and why you should read this book is Calder. He is amazing. He is amazing. He's an amazing character. The rules of being a fetch are very clear. He doesn't question them because they're just what life is. It's like it doesn't occur to him to go outside the boundaries of the rules. And when he does, he deals with a lot of guilt, but it's not I'm a horrible person guilt like you would think. It's more like it's his mental process of working through that guilt. It's guilt handled in a very beautiful way because of the person that he is. I wish I could explain this better because I think I'm not really doing him justice, but he's just such a lover. That's another reason. My third reason is love, how love is handled in this book. It's just so beautiful. It's not just the love that he thinks he has for this empress. That's more of an infatuation that he realizes later. He ends up loving someone else. And how he grows to love her is this beautiful, beautiful journey. And how he feels this obligation to protect Anna, who is Anastasia, and Alexei, and why, and how focused on the goal he is without losing sight of who they are and who he is, and all these other issues that he's dealing with in terms of how much he loves them and how he feels that he needs to protect them because he loves them, and how much the captain loves him and God loves him, and altruistic love, romantic love, a brotherly kind of love. They're just all these wonderful things about love that I fell in love with. And thirdly, the setting. The setting is Russia. because it's got to do with Rasputin and the Romanovs and the royal family and then their assassination. And what, the basic adventure part of the book is that Calder loses the key, and he gives it to someone who then gives it to someone else. And so the story becomes how they find the key. And it's a story of literally they go all the way around the world. And that's an amazing adventure, which, like I say, reveals the character of Calder. You don't really ever get bored. You kind of wonder what thing is next. How in the world are they going to find this key? Because, there are places that the characters get where they're just hopeless. They're like, we're never going to find this. What are we going to do now? And then something else leads them on. And then something else leads them a little further. There are some points where you think, well, where did they get the money to do that? Or how they... But it's okay. It's okay, because you can kind of forego those things for the beauty and the story. Just the story. Now, I'm not a fan of Russia. I've been to Russia. It's a cold place, and it tends to be dark. I went there in the winter, and so it tended to be dark and freezing. And I don't like that. I would much rather live near the equator, where it's beautiful and warm and pretty. And not that Russia isn't pretty in its own way, but what I saw was not pretty. So I'm surprised that I liked it that much. I want to show you in this book, they show you pictures of the royal family. So in one sense, I suppose it is a historical novel. It has some basis in history. I mean, she kind of ties that in a little bit, but mostly it's amazing. It's just an amazing book. The ending is incredible. As Laura Whitcomb is fond of doing, it's a wonderful ending that gives you an open-ended thing. You feel a sense of closure, and yet you're just it's one of those, kind of endings, if you know what I mean. So there are 4 reasons why I loved The Fetch by Laura Whitcomb, 4 reasons why you should pick it up and read it, and I hope that you do, because I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.